All right, so the reality is this is a big deal for me. I have probably had record YouTube video on my to-do list for 2 years. One of the things that I've been wanting to do for a long time is to really share that stuff in longer form videos on something like YouTube while incorporating the visuals of the things that I've shot or traveled or done and things that have really stuck out to me or lessons that were really meaningful. I think life as a traveler, filmmaker, documentarian, a lot of people see that stuff and they think that that is kind of where life starts and ends for me. But a big part of my life is philosophy and psychology, and it's just something that I really love and has changed my life. The last year or so, it's been really more so the last 6 months, it's been an intense time of self-reflection for a multitude of reasons. But it was a time of deep reflection that was more so focused on the notion of how can I get so honest with myself that I realize where I've lied to myself, where I've made excuses, um, just really trying to get to the depths of everything. And it took me so deep into questioning myself that at times I was like borderline depressed because I was like, what the hell? And the other day, like I had gone on a walk, and as I'm walking around, I try to, observe the small things, the sun shining through the branches and the flowers blooming and the sound of the birds and all of a sudden this realization hit me, and I had this question of like, why have I not shared the things that I'm so passionate about? Like, if I'm so passionate about them, what has stopped me from truly just sharing it? And a lot of this stuff was stuff that I had recorded or written down or planned to make a video about, and I just left it, on a deserted island, for lack of a better term. And I kind of came to this conclusion that I wasn't afraid of failing in the sense that I was afraid I wouldn't get engagement or subscribers or likes or views. I was actually more afraid of venturing out on this journey and kind of ending up in a situation where I failed myself, where, I had this idea of what I wanted to do and ended up not doing it, not posting, not recording the videos that I wanted to do. And so it was this idea of letting down myself or betraying myself. And the worst part about it is half the time I had recorded something and just not posted it. The amount of stuff that I have on hard drives from traveling to places like Tonga, Guatemala, um, the Philippines, Vietnam, Japan, Italy, Switzerland, one of the things that I had learned about myself was I consistently would show up for other people and not myself. And I think that betrayal of self is actually more defeating than anything else, because if you can't trust yourself, like, who can you trust? And that letdown of self to me is much worse than the letdown of not accumulating views on social media. Like, that stuff is great, but it's really not the objective or, what I think is going to come from doing something like this. And anything at this point that I'm sharing is something that I'm like vehemently passionate about, or, you know, really intent on sharing, whether it was something that impacted me directly or that I think could be helpful, not because I think it can do something for me, but because I think it could actually benefit somebody else. The even bigger realization was that if I never started or committed to this, then I couldn't fail. And a lot of these trips that I have been on, they changed my life in so many ways. They changed the way I saw myself and the world around me, and the two things combined. There were conversations that opened my mind, taught me things that I could have never imagined. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things about life, is to kind of fall more in love with yourself. And I think that it's a cliche for a reason, because it's necessary for us to really be the best version of ourselves. Because if we don't like who we are, that shows up in every other area of life. But tied together with that was this idea of a lot of those experiences I wanted to keep for myself. And I have battled with that a lot while traveling, is like, is this something that I want to share, or is it something that I want to value, that I want to enjoy selfishly? And I think that should be a question that people ask when they're experiencing something, because not everything, contrary to popular belief, like not everything should be captured. There's that dilemma of like, when do I take my camera out and when do I experience the moment? And I think I was worried that sharing those moments devalued the experience for me, or made me feel like I maybe did that, captured that for the wrong reason. And on the back end of all of that is the excuse of, I don't have time to edit things. We spend a lot of time on our phones, and I honestly think the excuse of I don't have time, if we look at our screen time, it usually proves us wrong. So I have an absolute love for the way the world works, the way our minds work, the way people interact with each other, the understanding of social dynamics, and cultural dynamics, and all of that really connects back to like why I do what I do and the kinds of stories that I want to tell. And it can sometimes seem like stuff like this isn't as connected as you might think, but it's all intertwined. Like, understanding different forms of philosophy and different theories in psychology help me so much when I'm filming, when I'm getting into sensitive subject matter with an interview subject on a sensitive topic. And I honestly think that it would be so beneficial for more people to go out and try to understand those things and to get honest with themselves at the same time. But even if you're not interested in that part of it, it's just such a great thing to understand. And the other things that I mentioned, like philosophy, psychology, cultural dynamics, these things all connect back to that kind of work, to storytelling, because the way people interact, the way our minds work, the way we look at religion or something greater than ourselves, all of that helps me interact with my subject, or understand the way somebody might be thinking, or how to handle a really sensitive situation behind the camera, to really get someone to open up, or to really get that key moment of vulnerability. And at the end of the day, I'm just excited to get this off my chest, to hit record, to edit it, to hit post, and to hold myself accountable for something that I've just kind of dodged for way too long. And my hope is that this is really just the beginning, or I guess my certainty. I don't want to call it a hope. And that it gets the ball rolling. And I know, like, the people who might have followed me on this channel, you probably have seen like the backpacker vlogs in South America from 8 years ago. And so life has changed so much, and I look back on those times as some of the greatest times in my life. But I'm just excited to hopefully start conversations beyond this idea of only talking filmmaking or creativity, conversations that make you think beyond the scope of where you might currently be in life, or even how you currently see the world and everything in it. More than anything, it's just something that's helped me. I like to share those things with friends, and so I think if that ripple effect of, being able to help one person who helps one person who helps one person, I think that's an important part. And that's the beauty of something like YouTube or social media, because I don't have the answers to things. I just have my experience and my opinions and the books that I've read, or conversations and things that I've been exposed to. And hopefully those conversations allow us to think and grow collectively with, our friends, or on here, or through social media interactions, even if we disagree on something. I plan to almost treat this as if it's like a video journal, so to speak, obviously with a mix of my work as a documentary and commercial director and DP, and different, behind the scenes or projects. But yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I hope that somebody somewhere gets something out of any of it.